With breathtaking astonishment, people who are in the know watch public officials, specifically cops in most cases, freak out about the addition of one more video camera, your video camera, recording in a public place while they are part of one of the biggest surveillance apparatuses in the entire world. I wanted to show this to you because unfortunately, people who aren't in the know are apt to choose security over liberty if they think in using the surveillance apparatus, they'll be able to apprehend more criminals. We're going to talk about that in a second, and I'm going to be interrupting this video because there's some really important information and points to be brought out here, because unfortunately a lot of people like to turn off their minds, suspend their critical thinking, and just allow this kind of technology to completely overrun and overwhelm us to the detriment of any semblance of freedom that we have left.
7 potential child predators caught by decoys and now behind bars, including a teacher at Wyandottes Roosevelt High School. It all started with Taylor Police teaming up with Homeland Security Investigations for an online sting.
Teaming up with Homeland Security. The Department of Homeland Security, we already know from probes in the past and from leaks in the past, namely Edward Snowden and PRISM and all that kind of stuff, that the Department of Homeland Security, the NSA, the federal government, the FBI, the CIA are constantly surveilling us. And now the local police are getting into the action saying, hey, we're employing this kind of technology because we're trying to get rid of people who prey on little people. Don't you want that?
We had undercover officers on websites doing what they're trained to do.
And that means posing as 14 and 15-year-old kids, chatting with adults looking to meet up, and gathering as much detail as possible.
The decoy will say, well, what kind of car are you arriving in? So I know when you get here, okay, I'm arriving in a green pickup truck. Okay, so now we're looking for green pickup trucks.
Police talked with the predators and told them where to meet up. And that's when this camera system comes into play.
This system is locating wanted people, bad people in society, and it's giving us another set of eyes.
It's a system called Flock that tracks vehicles. Taylor has 50 of these high-tech cameras and can share.
Tracks vehicles. Tracks just pedo vehicles? Tracks just criminally owned vehicles? Or tracks everybody and compiles all that data?
Info with hundreds of others throughout the state and country.
We can type in partial plates. We can type in vehicle descriptions. Say they know it's a black pickup truck only. Maybe they know it's a Ford pickup truck that's black. We can put that search criteria. They'll give us those images that meet that search criteria that we put in.
The system sorts through, narrowing down vehicles matching the description in real time. It allowed for police to safely track the suspected predators to a park for the meetup with much less risk.
We knew this individual was coming from Brighton, so we could track that vehicle as it headed south or east, however you want to call it, coming down 96. We were able to track that by looking at these license plate hits. I did not have to deploy a 6 or an 8-man surveillance crew to follow them.
It saved on.
Neither does a YouTuber. Did you realize that there are YouTubers out there that don't have 6-man crews or 4-man crews or sometimes even 2-man crews, and they are able to continually, successfully nab kid diddlers without law enforcement intervention, without massive tracking and surveillance, without the Flock system? So what they're saying is, hey, you know, we got this system set up, this massive surveillance system. We collect all these data points so that we can nab people. You want us to nab people? You want us to get kid diddlers off the street, don't you? Yeah, we do. But they set this up as a false dichotomy. It's like, oh, if you want that, if you want these bad people to be removed from the street, then you need this beefed up mass surveillance system, and you'll accept it if you want that level of safety. What did Benjamin Franklin say about this specifically? If you give up a little essential liberty to accept politically promised security, you deserve neither liberty nor security.
Resources like manpower kept the officers and public safe and helped take 7 people looking to meet with young teens off the street.
If you want kids to be safe, if you want these evil people taken out off the street, then you want the Flock security system, the surveillance, mass surveillance system. If you don't want the mass surveillance system, then you must not care about children. It's like the gun control argument. Hey, do you love your guns or do you love your kids? If you love kids, you'll give up your guns. Without even thinking, well, what if these people in these neighborhoods have guns so they can protect their kids? Are you willing to give up a little essential liberty to get this kind of government security? Do we need to give the government more mass surveillance powers? Check this out. There's not just flock cameras. There's also something called Shot Spotter.
Up on 644, they help fight crime in Hampton Roads. We've been bringing you stories about law enforcement technology, things like Shot Spotter and flock cameras, which have helped in dozens of different investigations.
And I'm sure they do help somewhat. If you can implement a system that can get some criminals off the street, that would be a good thing, I would think. But can't you get these criminals off the street without this technology? History says that you can. And what's interesting is a lot of these social media platforms have gotten rid of these YouTubers who are extremely successful in getting evil people, especially people who are preying on little children, off the street. And a lot of times those YouTubers catch FEMA agents. One guy caught a higher up guy in the Sony Corporation. They're catching people who are part of the military. They're catching people who are priests and teachers, people who are in trusted positions in the community. But why is social media getting rid of all those people? And then the government is replacing what those people used to do, and they were really good at it, with all this surveillance equipment that's also going to surveil people who aren't involved in criminal activity.
Devices are the subject of concerns over personal privacy. News 3 investigator Zach
Well,
Dahl.
Brian, you can't expect to be private in a public place. As a matter of fact, there's no expectation of privacy in a public place. But what these people are using their power and surveillance to do is to criminalize people who aren't criminals. Taking your license plate. Oh, this guy's license plate is out of date. Go ahead and send him a traffic ticket by mail. Go ahead and economically terrorize him. So when you have the government who wants to increase its power, historically speaking, that power is often not used for the good purpose you thought it was going to be used for.
Heimer talked with law enforcement and folks with these companies and reveals what's been done to address those concerns.
I'm always concerned on a Sunday morning.
Safety is top of mind for Lisa Myers.
And this lady right here is going to say at the very end of this video, hey, if you're a good person, you got nothing to hide. Then you got nothing to worry about. Let's implement this stuff for increased safety and security.
Myers. Lately, she's 4 cameras like this near her church around Suffolk and Isle of Wight County.
We could be very vulnerable, and there have been churches
Surveil us, government. Please protect us at all costs. We'll give everything up. Just make sure we're safe, government.
that have been bothered before.
Newport News Police Chief Steve Drew is all in on crime-fighting tech, including Shot Spotter.
All in.
It's not just a fishnet, let's cast and see what all we capture today.
That's exactly what it is. These people are trained to lie. We've already covered the fact that they are trained to engage in deceptive practices. That's what this is. This is a broad spectrum mass surveillance fishnet that intends to catch everybody, including you, and to criminalize people who aren't criminals.
Not the case. It is all about investigations. It's about keeping our community safe.
We believe you. We know you're not lying to us.
Years ago, I sat down with Chief Drew to talk about the technology. Newport News Police say they've had hundreds of offenses associated with ShotSpotter alerts in the city, including shootings and homicides.
I believe it is a game changer for us.
This past year, another technology has surfaced. Flock safety cameras placed around the city based on recent crime stats that can identify license plate numbers and letters and other features of cars, all within seconds.
It's able to determine whether that vehicle is known to be a stolen vehicle.
Oh, a spokeswoman for Flock Safety. Look at that. What could she possibly gain by lying to the news and then going through law enforcement agencies who lie to the people? Let's see. Maybe we should follow the money.
associated with a wanted offender or associated with a missing person, and then flag that vehicle in an alert.
Flock cameras are installed in departments throughout Hampton Roads. In Newport News, they've been up and running for about a year, and Chief Drew says their tech has helped find more than 40 stolen vehicles.
Technology may not tell us who's driving that vehicle, but if that vehicle is seen leaving the scene of a homicide, it's an avenue for investigators.
But both tools have been the center of questions regarding privacy. For Flock, the ACLU has raised concerns, saying, quote, the police do not need records of every person's coming and goings, including trips to doctors' offices, religious institutions, and political gatherings.
I agree, but that's exactly what happens because these flock systems aren't going to be indiscriminate. They're very discriminate. And matter of fact, what falls under the umbrella of their discrimination is everybody. We're collecting everybody's license plate numbers. And if we collect that, we also have the capability to see who's out of registration. Maybe this guy has parking tickets or speeding tickets that he's been eluding the police with. Maybe we need to pay him a little visit. Maybe we need to pull behind him and light him up.
I took these concerns to Flock officials.
We don't have speed recognition on these cameras. They're not red light cameras. They don't have facial recognition, and they're not video cameras that are tracking people. It is really solely to pull a license plate and vehicle details.
That's all it is. That's all. Just believe us. Believe us.
Spokesperson Holly Balin also told me if an image of a particular license plate is never used in a criminal investigation, it automatically goes away after 30 days.
But a cop could pull a warrant from a judge anytime, download that information, and it won't go away at 30 days. They can keep it indefinitely. And how often do you think they'll do that? Oh, Brian, you don't understand about law enforcement. They would never abuse their power. You don't understand the judicial system. The judge would never abuse his power. Come on, they're for the people. This is about protecting and serving all of us. Brian, what's wrong with you?
But he also has safeguards for accountability and transparency, like easy-to-pull auditing reports and required...
You mean like police stations and police departments have safeguards for transparency and accountability? They commit crimes on camera in broad daylight and still get away with it. That's how transparent they are.
Justifications every time police perform a search with cameras. As for ShotSpotter, I asked Chief Drew about a recent privacy audit of the technology requested by its parent company that was conducted by NYU. The report concluded that the risk of voice surveillance is extremely low. It also gave
We'll see. Just stay tuned. You'll see just how low it is in a second.
Recommendations that NYU says ShotSpotter has adopted. These include reducing the length of audio stored on each sensor and not sharing precise sensor locations with law enforcement.
I would say it has been a checks and balances.
Drew supports the audit and mentioned his department has their own policies for their tech.
That stuff is private. It is used for investigation.
He also mentioned he doesn't know exactly where the sensors are placed, and ShotSpotter helped choose where to install them after looking at crime data.
You kind of get out of technology what you put into it, but you also have to be held accountable for it.
ShotSpotter's parent company...
And you know everything about being held accountable, don't you, Chief?
Thinking also lists community privacy protections. Some points state human voices and street noise will never trigger a sensor. Also, sensors store 30 hours of...
We're going to prove conclusively where that is a lie because ShotSpotter technology was used at least in 2 court cases that we know of.
Audio and automatically delete audio older than 30 hours, and that neither police nor third parties ever have direct access to this audio.
I want to see it safe.
As for Myers, she believes more technology means more peace of mind.
If it helps to find out when somebody's doing something wrong, those of us who are doing things right don't need to be worried, do we?
No, you got nothing to hide. The safety of the people will always be the alibi of tyrants. Let's take a look at ShotSpotter. This is from the Surveillance Technology Oversight Project. Look at this. Once installed, ShotSpotter sensors record audio 24/7, storing recordings for 30 hours down from 72 hours until they are overwritten on a rolling basis. The eavesdropping devices record anything they hear, including conversations conducted at normal volume up to 50 feet away. That's the government spying on you, spying on me, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with the supposed claim of making our communities safer. Like I said, the safety of the people will always be the alibi of tyrants. The safety of the people is their foot in the door to get you to give away a little bit more of your freedoms so that they can increase in power, including surveillance power. Once recorded, those conversations could be searched manually and preserved for later use. There are at least 2 cases of ShotSpotter voice recordings being used in court. In 2007, a California court allowed a voice recording captured by ShotSpotter as evidence in a murder trial. In 2012, a Massachusetts court ruled that ShotSpotter's recording of a conversation violated the Massachusetts Wiretap Act. ShotSpotter first claimed that its sensors cannot record conversations. It later admitted the risk, and in 2019 apparently agreed to external auditors' recommendations that it deny or challenge police demands for sensor audio. They conclude, promises aside, however, nothing appears to stop ShotSpotter from searching, retrieving, and sharing audio stored for 30 hours on its sensors or from sharing the audio stored longer on its servers. So when you hear people, especially spokespeople for a particular product, saying that it can deliver this and only this, and it's not going to be used for any kind of mass surveillance of innocent people, like this chief right here suggests, you can know, pretty much, you can know, historically speaking, you can know that they are lying. So let me ask you, do you think it's a good idea to increase police surveillance powers so that we can keep the children safe? Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comments section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, grab a shirt, become a channel member, but more importantly, know what your rights are, understand your rights, and flex your rights. If you don't use your rights, you will lose them because there are people out there who want to take them away. I will see you in the next video.